We are live. Thank you for attending our next episode of Studio 6 Paranormal Podcast. My name is Jay Hill and my co-host Shane Feek, and our esteemed guest of the honor today is Jill Shelley from St Croix Paranormal.
Yep.
So, first off, I am located in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, broadcasting live in a spirited hotel built in 1856. I do my podcast on Saturdays and Sundays. So without further ado, I will ask my guest exactly what is like for you to own a haunted location.
It's awesome. But yeah, it's a lot more work than I thought. But other than that, it's super cool because I think you can make more of a connection with the spirits because, you're going there time and time again, and then you're starting to find out about them and things that they like and things that they don't like. So I think you start to make more of a connection with them.
Right.
So that's
yeah, sure. That sounds totally.
Yeah. How long ago did you purchase this place?
It was in 2018. It was my team always used to travel all through the U.S. to well-known haunted locations, so that kind of gave me the idea of trying to get my own location. So financially, in 2018, we were able to move forward and purchase the house.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can you tell us a little history about the place, about the house?
Yeah, it was built in 1901, but our deed actually goes back to 1889 when the land was actually owned by the St. Louis Minneapolis Railroad. And so they built one of the railroads that came through there. So it became a real railroad town, Wild West town, all the pictures we have back from the 1900s. They had like 500 people at the time in the town. They had hotels and billiards and meat markets and all. It was just huge. And now it's pretty much a dying town with like little over 100 people and 2 businesses in town, basically. But one of the one of the first people that I have in the house, starting in 1912, is Fred Eckert. And he was a really big, well-known businessman in town. So he had his own general store. So he sold a lot of the fancy goods. He also was part of the fire department, the church. He helped build one of the churches. He and his wife actually passed away in the home, and Minnie's funeral was held in the home. So her body was there for about 3 days. 2 of their children passed away in the home. So we also get childlike activity as well in the house. And then we do know of an elderly lady in the 70s that passed away. But we also get some names too that don't correlate to anything with the deed. Like they're constant names. Like I constantly get Henry. I have no clue who this gentleman is. But we're right. Also, the tracks for the railroad go right behind the house. So there's some energy going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then also back in the day too, the town itself was actually butted up against the Sioux Dakota reservation line. So I can just imagine back in the day what kind of things have happened, any deaths that have happened that may not be on the record books. It's hard to find information when you're trying to reach back to the really early 1900s.
Right.
To find
records are kind of scarce.
Yeah. So we do have the 5 confirmed deaths in the house. So
that's cool.
That's
you said
the history.
Yeah, you said the train actually goes behind the house.
Yes.
Is it still there? Are those tracks gone now? Or
no, they still run it. Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
You can hear the train coming, and if you step out on the back, you just see it going right by. So
that's cool.
That's a big trigger object.
Yeah. Have you noticed any change in like activity or et cetera when the train is near or when it's not?
No, I haven't actually noticed that. I've been there when the train's actually gone through, and I'll talk to the kids and say, "Oh my gosh, do you recognize the sound? The train's coming."
Sure.
I haven't gotten an EVP, to that particular response or anything.
Fair enough.
So I guess I haven't really noticed a correlation. I should start doing that.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting thing just to, notepad jot down when the train goes by and how much activity you're getting, just to see if it has some influence.
Right. Now you have cameras set up. I'm assuming you have cameras in the house.
Only when investigating. So we don't have like a surveillance system on it.
Oh.
We don't have like the Wi-Fi or anything like that.
Sure.
But at this time, we're planning on adding it. Everything costs money, so we just kind of have to wait till that point.
Well, that would kind of go along with what Shane was saying. Like if you wrote down the schedule to the train, and if you actually had camera system in there, you can mark time and see if there was any activity on the camera or
that'd be cool.
Audio or whatever. So
right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and like train tracks and like train stations, old ones especially, are just right for a field of energy. I mean, it's just there's so much people go in and out of there so much. It's like just like spirits travel through here at this location a lot because this was one of the places where people would stay, even coming off the train downtown, which is only like 5 blocks away. So I mean, there was different things that were in play here just because of the fact that since trains were so prevalent back then that it's just so it's awesome that you actually have
it is cool
that is like for us we don't have that train station here anymore because the city tore it down, which we were not too happy about, but so yeah. Now do you still have is there still a train station in the area where you're at?
No, there's not a station, but I've gone right just up the road where the little Boyd sign is, where it would have stopped.
Okay.
So yeah, I've put that because I made a little mini documentary about the Boyd house, so people know a little bit more history and some of the paranormal activity that's gone on. They've actually had a guy back in the day, then they could never prove. They're not sure. They say he committed suicide, but people are like he wouldn't have. So they found him run over by a train. He was killed by that train in town.
Oh.
And town's literally like you walk like 10 feet across the street, you're in town. So it's very close. And also back in the day, they didn't allow butchering of the animals at the meat market in town. So they had to take them out to the railroad tracks and butcher the animals.
Really?
And then bring them back into town after they were butchered. So, there's some energy there too.
Right. So have you written a book or thinking about writing a book? Because this would be a great story.
It would be. Yes. I have not thought of that.
Yes. I mean, just alone, just by talking about the house and the things that they used to do in town and, that I would definitely read that. That would be cool. I mean, that would just be, just anything with the railroad to me is just, that's a great story. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, we did meet up with Fred Eckhart Jr., which is actually the grandson of Fred and Minnie Eckhart's.
Okay.
So we met up with him and we talked for a couple hours and he told me all these stories about his grandparents, which is things you're never going to find in a book. So I did actually write those down and type them up. I have a book at the house that we put together all about Fred and Minnie's life with their pictures, a little bit of history, a little bit of town history.
Right.
Yeah, so we kind of put some of like that together. We even got some really great stuff off Ancestry. We got like the actual things that the Eckarts filled out for the war. For their draft, and it's in their handwriting. It says their height and eye color and everything. So it's really cool to get stuff like that.
Right. So do you know any more like information on how old some of these towns that like you're in and around were? I mean,
they're all the city of Boyd is pretty much in the middle of nowhere. So you have to drive about 15 miles out of one of the bigger towns, which is Granite Falls. So 15 miles is through cornfields and it's plopped down in the middle of a cornfield and it runs about 5 blocks and that's your town.
Yeah.
So there's most of the towns around the area are all from the 1800s. So just a lot of history going on back there. So, and a lot of Native American land was back in the day. So that was basically El Sioux Dakota down in that area. As well.
Yeah.
So do you know if you had any Native American in that area? Native American people?
As far as spirit-wise, no, I haven't gotten any Native American stuff, so nobody's really told me anything about that, but it really wouldn't surprise me that there would be some sort of that type of activity there.
Right. Yeah. The land actually plays a big big part in everything that we do, especially in the paranormal field. But talk to us a little bit about your paranormal team.
Well, we founded back in 2010, so that was quite a while ago. But I just kind of met a great group of people. I was always fascinated by the paranormal. And then in 2010, like I said, I met a great group of people. We formed our team, and we started out just doing local businesses and places in town, and also just private homes. And then after that, we kind of moved on and started traveling to the well-known haunted locations. Our first place we actually went to was the Villisca X Murder House.
Hey, Jill. Hey,
Yeah.
Jill. Hang on a second. I don't know. Are you getting feedback from me?
Not you. I was from him, but now he's gone. I'm not getting that.
Okay, let's see.
Sorry, I bumped a button. My bad.
What did you do?
Well, I was trying to adjust it because it was the echo cancellation was being annoying, and
Yeah.
it did went back to the site again.
Okay.
Anyways, we're good to go.
Okay. So I'm sorry, Jill. I didn't mean to interrupt you, what you were saying. So yeah, continue on what you were talking about.
Yeah, so then our team just started traveling to well-known haunted locations. So Villisca X Murder was our first location. And after that, we were hooked. So we traveled all over the U.S. We've been to like Waverly, Whispers Estate. Gosh, there's so many that I can't even remember half of the places we've been. So
Right.
Edinburgh Manor is one of my all-time favorite places to go. We've been done like Bobby Mackey's, kind of pretty much a lot of places that you would have seen on the national ghost hunting shows.
Right.
We visited a lot of those places in search.
Talk to us a little bit about Bobby Mackey's. What's your opinion on that?
It was very interesting. I'm not sure at least we didn't get the evil experience that a lot of people say it was. That doesn't mean it's not, but we didn't experience any of that. Just kind of a weird thing is I was in the upstairs area, and we had rented this for private investigation, so nobody was there.
Mm-hmm.
But you heard somebody like walk in, go through the bathroom door, and they're like the swing doors, and then we were just kind of like, what? Like it was just crazy to hear that. And then the other, there's a room down there where they kind of like the room of shadows, I think. I started walking through that, and I had some really heavy energy, I was almost like in a paralyzed state, like I couldn't move. It was kind of weird. And then I just said, but I could feel it come up on me, almost like this big electrical hug. And then you couldn't move.
Interesting.
Yeah, and you couldn't move. And I was like telling people, I'm like, I can't even move to turn the camera. So then I was just like, you need to back off, and you need to do it now. And then you immediately just felt it like step back, like it let go. It was just, and that would probably be about the almost negative thing that we had gotten from there.
Right.
It's super cool.
I've heard a couple different times that Bobby Mackey's hasn't quite people haven't quite got the evidence that they thought they would.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I kind of take that with everybody's different, and every team is different. So I mean, it's just I just take it with a grain of salt. Talk to us about probably one of your favorites or one of your best moments that you've gotten some great evidence.
Oh gosh, there's like so many different things. Like one of my favorite places is Edinburgh Manor, and that's in Iowa. Usually you get something. The first time we came, because we've been there like 5 times now. It's like the first time we came, we had like a motion chimer that was going off by itself. And we were like all up on the second floor, so it should have been going off. So then when we went down there and I was in the room, I said, hey, if you want to come in, we'll play more games, because we were in like the pool room where they play games. And all of a sudden that chimer started going ding, 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 like 3 or 4 people came in.
Wow.
And then I got like my favorite EVP from there was a little girl. There's a little girl known there. And we felt like we were playing games with her. And when we're investigating, we'll get right down there with the kids. We'll play games, we'll dance around, we'll do ring around the rosy, we'll jump rope, whatever it takes. So we were doing a lot of play interaction with her. And as we left, I got an EVP class A, didn't even have to tweak it out or anything, that just from her that said, I'm going to miss you. Because we were
oh, that's cool.
trying to go to bed. But you always get something there. Really good stuff, evidence. I just love that place. Lots of good stuff at that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. What was your scariest place?
We always go back to Whispers Estate in Indiana as far as our scariest. We all said we'd never go back. We did go once. It wasn't as bad the second time around, but the girl who had the problem didn't join us that time, so I think it would have been different had she. But when you came into that house, I don't know if people don't know the history on the house. There was a doctor there that did unethical things to his patients.
Okay.
A lot of death in that house. His daughter caught on fire, and then he mercy killed her with morphine 3 days later. We've had a little boy fall down the stairs and die. They buried body parts out in the backyard. So just a lot of negative things. But there's also a particular closet called Virgil's Closet, and he was the caretaker of the place. And the day he retired, as he was putting his tools away for the end of the day last time, he dropped dead of a heart attack in front of this closet.
Oh,
Wow.
A lot of negativity around this closet because I'm sure I'd be ticked off if I just,
right.
that was my retirement day and I just died there. So I can see that. But the whole night, like you were just constantly like wiping your face because of the whole cobweb. Like you felt
Right.
cobwebs, but there weren't any cobwebs anywhere. We found wet footprints coming up from the basement to leading outside, which none of us did that. And it was and then one of the guys just left the house. He said, I'm done. I can't be in here anymore. So then it was just us girls in the house. And then everything kind of went crazy from there. So we were upstairs right by the closet. We decided to go in the closet. Of course, you're not, all this bad stuff happens. Let's go in this closet.
Right.
It's a really big closet. So it's like a huge walk-in. So they even have a table and chairs in there. So it's a big.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sitting there in the closet and I hear this voice in my head that says, get out of this closet. And I thought, well, okay, so I'm going to do that. So I did that. But I also have a paranoia of being in closets because I don't want the door to shut on me. So I'm like, well, is it just me? Is it, so I didn't say anything to my friend Teresa, who was sitting in the chair, which was in the back of the closet. And then the spirit box said, shut this door. And we didn't do that either. And then next thing you know, Teresa and the chair come flying 4 feet out of the room into the hallway.
Oh, wow.
So she, we tried to debunk it. She's like, if I would have fell forward, And she's like, I physically felt somebody pick my chair up and throw me. So she was pretty shaken after that. And then she vowed she'd never go back. So, and she hasn't. Like I said, we tried to go back. We got a lot of REM pod activity the second time we went around, but not that we didn't get that cobwebby feel. It was a completely different feel. But again, that varies from night to night too, wherever you go.
Robert asked, have you ever been to our grade school in Iowa?
Yeah, we've been there 3 times, actually. Something kind of took over me at the Farrar the very first time we went. They have like a negative principal there. And I don't know if it was him or just angry. I'm very laid back, very easygoing, crack a lot of jokes. I'm not, a mean person by any ways. And we split up in groups, and then one of my team members came through the same corridor that I was at or the floor we were working on, and I just started screaming at them, like, why are you here? What are you doing? Why are you interrupting? And I was just like screaming.
That's crazy.
No recollection of that. When I watched the film footage back, I called my people and said, I am so sorry because I don't even remember doing this. So that was just kind of a weird.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been there.
To do
I
that.
did an investigation there once.
Yep. And, we've always talked about if something's not right, take the person outside. And I'm like, did you not think of this, you guys? I mean, it's not me. So.
Yeah, I had weird stuff from there. I don't know if it follows or what it does, but yeah, when I talk about or do things about that school outside, I get instrument readings from every time I'm talking about it. So something's weird.
Yeah. But it's a fun place to go. I like going there.
Yeah, it was an awesome place. I mean, that place is huge.
Yeah. How far is that from you, Shane?
About 7 hours.
Okay, so it'd be about 5 hours for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a worthwhile place. If you can get in there, that's great.
Jill, have you ever investigated like anything near like Galena, Illinois, or anything around Illinois?
Yeah, we've done the Egyptian theater. So we've been there. When the Peoria Asylum was around before they tore it down, unfortunately, we went there twice. We loved that. It was super awesome. Um, Thornhaven Manor. No, that was in Indiana.
Yeah.
Um, I'm sure there's a few others that I can't think of right now. Oh, Ashmore for sure. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, we've been to Ashmore.
So, Jill, how long have you been in the paranormal then? Sounds like, I mean, if you had this many investigations.
We started the team in 2010, but I've always kind of been into the paranormal. I didn't really start investigating until 2010. So prior to that, as you know, a young
That's still
kid,
a long time.
yeah, I used to watch all the scary movies, read books about ghosts, be all fascinated, kind of learn what I can. And then, with the advent of TV of the, ghost hunters coming out, I'm like, oh my gosh, you can really do this. I didn't know you could do this. So it's like, then it just kind of escalated and, you started out with one camcorder. Now we own a bazillion of them. So
There you go.
Right. How many people are on your team?
we have 5 on our team. So
That's a good size.
yeah, we're pretty close knit. Not all of us can come every time. But we've all pretty much been together since 2010. So we're more like brothers and sisters, actually.
That's pretty good because most of the time it's hard to get a ghost group that lasts more than a couple years.
I know. We have had people come and go, that tried out
Sure.
them and they didn't stay very long. Some of them we were glad to see go and some we were really sad to see go. So
yeah, that's part of the reason I just kind of became an independent investigator because it's like every group I join within a little while is either messed up or something didn't go right. So I just kind of float now.
Yeah. Yeah, I have that now. It's like I'm just kind of by myself with Wisconsin Paranormal Research. So that's why, I do this and then I do other events and stuff like that. But yeah, it's kind of a revolving door for people. There's some people that are into it and then some people that are just not into it. You know what I mean? They think they are. And then like a month later, they're like, yeah, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize the work that's involved.
Oh yeah, they see the TV show and they're like, "Oh yeah, that looks fun. I'll sit around in the dark and jump scare."
Yeah.
But then you realize that, oh yeah, you're gonna spend hours at this place and nothing happening.
Exactly. That's what I try to do. Even like people now who know me, they're like, "Aren't you afraid?" I'm like, "No, I spend most of my time walking around going hello." So it's like,
right.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that it's a lot of it is sitting alone or sitting in a dark room or something like that, or walking around dark halls, and usually not getting anything, So a lot of people have to cram everything in a half-hour show, so they take 6 hours or 8 hours of investigation, try to make it into.
And for me, I don't even use the other equipment. I just data log everything, so it's even sometimes more boring. You just start the logger going.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Maybe do an EVP session or two, but for the most part, just log data and see what you get when you're done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've been doing a little bit less. Like like I said, we're a little extreme with, what we own as far as equipment goes. We could probably fill up 3 vans full of stuff. But I've been kind of trying to take it down to a little bit more minimal. So even like when I go to the Boyd House, I just bring very minimal very minimal equipment.
Right.
Sure.
Which is usually like 1 camera and like I'll leave a REM pod in a room, but I won't even film it anymore. It'll just be, I'll hear it,
Yeah.
Right.
So, that kind of situation where before I had to have a camera in every single room and a voice recorder in every single room. And I haven't been doing that. I still do a little bit more heavier when we go out to places just because you want to get as much coverage as you can because you get one shot one night there.
Right.
Sure.
But yeah, with the Boyd House, with my multiple visits, it's been kind of nice just to having just very minimal stuff.
Yeah, I've done that where when I started doing the whole going out to places and this and that, and then all of a sudden it was, I really don't want to set up, 5 cameras in 5 different rooms,
Yeah.
It was the point where it was like, oh yeah, that's kind of grueling. Is there somebody that we can get this done for me? So, but yeah.
Well, and then the more cameras you set up, the more hours you got to sit around at home and watch all that crap too.
And I realized that early on.
It multiplies quickly.
Mm-hmm. And that is so grueling sometimes. I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do it. I love to do that, but I mean, for 6-7 hours, I can't listen to. My brain would just be like, okay, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I doze off a lot because it's like, and then you start,
Yep.
you're kind of wishing, okay, what if this happened? That would be really cool. It's not gonna, but let's just think about
Right.
it. You know, it's like, that would be really cool if that went off, but it never does.
Angela asked you, can you tell us about your experience in Illinois at the Peoria Asylum?
Yeah, that was just really super cool place to go. Richard, who was the owner at the time, awesome gentleman. Let's see, again, thinking way back, I do know that we were just sitting up on the second floor, and we had our Mel REM pod that started going off. I think one of the biggest things that Alex was up on the second or third floor. I'm not sure exactly where he was, but you know, we always split up and have walkie talkies. But
Right.
he was using a parabolic microphone dish.
Those are cool.
And something literally grabbed the dish portion and pulled it off and threw it to the floor out of their hand. But
Oh,
we're still holding
Wow.
the actual dish, but it's not like it fell off. They literally felt the pull. Like you can see it on film where she's literally getting pulled forward, and somebody just took it from her. Like they didn't
wow.
want anything to do with that. So, and then, you know, you have the usual, you heard footsteps, you know, shadow figures. I think we got some good EVPs, but it's an awesome building. It's such a shame it ended up getting torn down, you know, because I really love that building. It was super cool.
Right, right. Isn't there another one in Illinois that's still up? I think it's an asylum. I can't remember the name of it. Robert, I know you're still watching, so which one is it that I'm talking about? Robert would know because Robert lives in Illinois. So, yeah, there's some places in Illinois actually that are, you know who who Troy Taylor is?
No,
Okay, he's investigator. I've actually read quite a few of his books, you know, for years, and talks a lot about the Illinois history, and I can't even remember the name of the town now. I hate that when that happens. Let me see. Let's see what Robert says. Are you still talking about the other one? Okay. Yeah. So, Shane, have you ever investigated anything in Illinois?
Not in Illinois.
Decatur, Illinois. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, I've done Ohio and Michigan and Iowa so far.
Right. Yeah, Decatur, Illinois has got a lot of really cool. Elgin State Hospital, that's what it is. Okay. So, yeah, that's one of the places that we were actually invited to last year, is to go down to by Decatur. And I think there's a theater down there. So
is that the Egyptian one? Because that's the one we were at.
Probably.
And I think it was up there, but I want to say, well, I probably say it wrong, but I thought it was like DeKalb with a K, like Kalb.
Okay.
It might be.
Yeah. So that's where that Egyptian theater is. So I just remember saying that, but I don't know if you guys pronounce it different.
Yeah, Robert. Yeah, Robert said that. You're absolutely correct. In Decatur. Yeah, in Decatur Theater. Yeah. Decatur.
So have you done any places in Michigan?
We haven't done Michigan. I think isn't that Eloise Asylum up that way?
Okay. Yeah. There's also, I've been hitting the Van Buren Poorhouse Museum.
Okay.
It's pretty good. There's the Henderson Castle in Kalamazoo. That's pretty good. Of course, there's several state theaters that are really old, and they have a lot of activity. Lansing State Theater.
We've actually been talking about flying lately instead of driving, so we're kind of worried about our REM pods setting everybody off thinking it's a bomb. So we're kind of worried about that, but you know, through security.
Right.
So yeah, we were talking about maybe flying a few places just to save some drive time and
yeah, because that's a long drive to Michigan from Minnesota.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, it's like 10 hours maybe.
Yeah, we've driven to Ohio before, so that's probably our farthest drive was Ohio. But you know, 14 hours, it gets long. It gets really long. So,
well, if you fly in and you want a place to go, I can get you hooked up.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, we're gonna try, usually around the end of the year, January or February, start planning our 2022 trip. So
Well, let me know if you're in the area, and I can pull strings and usually get us in places. So
awesome, we'll do,
Yeah.
definitely. Thank you.
Yeah,
no
and
problem.
we definitely got to get, me and you, Shane, have to get into someplace.
Yeah,
I'm still debating on what I'm doing for Halloween.
there you go.
So, I
Well,
mean,
you let me know. Illinois is not that far.
this is true. This is true.
Wisconsin.
I would like to go to Chicago. I mean, there's
Sure.
a lot of gangster stuff.
2.5 hours for me. So
Yeah, yeah. Me and Shane live fairly close, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, Now, have you guys? There's a lot of I know a lot of paranormal investigators who investigate cemeteries. How do you feel about that?
We haven't done a real lot of them. Ironically, Donna and I met at the cemetery. But
that's
that
cool.
was actually when I worked with her sister-in-law who knew I was into paranormal, and she said, "Oh my God, you got to meet my sister-in-law. She's like totally into it." So we talked on the phone for a little bit and then set up a date at the cemetery. So that's where we met.
Oh, okay.
But usually we like to have a little bit more controlled environment, so you're not getting the outside noises from kids down the street, or we can't 100% say. So it's I like to go visit them because I think a lot of the headstones are really cool, and I like to look at the old dates.
Mhm.
Because I'm a kind of old soul. I love all that old stuff. That's kind of why with paranormal too. You get in those old buildings. It's just super cool to look
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and see the structure and how they things and
Yep.
stuff. But yeah, usually if we don't have like a private indoor type setting, then usually we don't do like actual true investigating. Visiting's one thing, but yeah,
Yeah.
investigating.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, there's places where that I know that a lot of people have gone to, and like even in Galena, I've tried to get into the main hotel there. I can't remember the name of it, but they've always turned me down. And then I just heard probably in the last, what was it, sometime last year that Zach Bagans and his team got in there to investigate. And so I was just like, well, I don't have a TV show, so I guess, that's probably why they got in there. But
Right.
um, I've been to Galena and I've seen some of the other buildings in Galena, and just talking about, those type of buildings in themselves is like walking back in time. And it's just, and that's, when you talked about the history and like the old buildings, and that's the same way for me. I mean, I love those old buildings, and like I love this building, this house, this hotel that I'm in is from 1856, and it shows. I mean, and it's beautifully preserved, and so the spirits here are very nice, and we've interacted with them, and I've investigated here a couple times. So yeah, so I totally get what you're saying when you look at an old building, and it's just the appreciation is just off the charts. I mean, it's only when people like to tear things down that is like trying to destroy history, that's something that really bugs me. So we have a couple places like that in town here that I didn't know was torn down, and one of them was torn down, and I was pretty upset because it was kind of a mainstay. So
Mm-hmm.
I know that changes happen, but gosh, it's like kind of like you just want to save everything that's all those old buildings,
Right.
So tell us a little bit about the Boyd House. Like if you've had something like kind of like an aha moment, or like a really cool, hey, that's never happened before moment in the house.
But there's a lot of things. But
You seem to have quite a few of things.
yeah, like one thing I thought was really kind of fun for me is I decided to set up a poker game down in the basement.
Okay.
And I honestly know nothing about poker. So as I shuffled cards, I'm just like, this is aces are wild. And I'm just, shouting out poker jargon. I really have no clue.
Right.
But a couple hours before that, the REM pod on the table kept going on and off for several hours. But when I'd run down there, it would stop, of course.
Right.
So anyway, I shuffled all the cards and I had all these coins from the 1900s. And then I had a really big solid gold one. And I said, it's not real gold, but it looked it. And I was like, this is the grand prize here. So I would constantly shuffle the cards, but I always had one card pushed to the edge of the table, not hanging over. It was just literally just at the edge of the table. I always said, if you've enjoyed tonight's game, throw it off. I'll know you guys had fun. So this went on, several times through the night. So at midnight or roughly around there, I went down for the last time, shuffled, said, hey, again, please throw the card off the table. That would be great. About 15 minutes after I left and I caught it on film, they threw the card off the table. So I
wow, that's pretty cool.
Really excited about that. And so now they've actually thrown other stuff off the table for people. And you can play 21 with a K2 meter with them. It's really insane, but you can. They actually so you use the K2 as hit the K2 if you want to hit in your cards. And they're right on every single time. It's crazy.
That's interesting.
They actually play 21. And we did find out Minnie was a very big card player. She loved cards. So it definitely, maybe it's her. I don't know who's playing with us, but that's kind of fun. My husband's actually seen a woman standing on the stairwell. So he thought it was me at first, and then she just disappeared very quickly.
Oh, wow.
So, and I was jealous because I've never actually seen a full-blown apparition, and he had. So, yeah, those were kind of some fun things. We get a lot of good EVPs, saying, I'm Fred, it's Fred, Fred's coming. So we do know that Fred's there. My favorite spirit box response is I have their wedding photo hanging in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And I was running the spirit box, and I pointed the picture. I said, hey, is anybody here the people in the picture? And plain as day over the spirit box, in which I was actually using the portal at the time, it said, do you mean the Eckarts? So the obvious, you can't debate when stuff like that is said. There's no debating on that. I mean, AM radio, middle of nowhere, it ain't going to say that.
Right.
So, sure.
Yeah.
So that's a really good one. The very first night I stayed in the house, I was told by a medium that the gentleman who lives in the house likes to garden, and he comes in through the back door. Through research now, I found that Fred is a big gardener. So I was walking by the basement door, and all of a sudden I heard this bam, 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 like somebody was pounding on the back of the door. Of course, I jumped 10 feet because I was not expecting it.
Right.
Of course, then I opened the door. I'm like, hello, and nobody's there, obviously. And then I tried to debunk it. Of course, I'm like, well, if it's wind, if it's, and there was nothing that would have done that. It was insane. So somebody had done that the very, very first night that we've been there. But just so many different things have happened at the house. They continue to surprise me a lot of times.
Right. So dating back to the history of that house, I'm always curious what the inside. Do you have a YouTube channel where you have a video of the inside of this house, or is this all?
Yeah, we do have some stuff out on our Facebook page for the Boyd House, but some of the videos I've put up through the paranormal team, St Croix Paranormal. You can find that on YouTube.
Okay.
Some different things that we've had, and even just Googling on YouTube, Boyd House, other teams have put up their investigations and things they have captured as well.
Okay. What do you how much do you charge for other teams to investigate the Boyd House?
Well, being an investigator myself, I tried to think of things that would be good as far as time-wise. So as of right now, because things are financially going okay with the house, but the bills are rising, so we may have to change it. But as of now, it's $175 a night for up to 8 people, and you can investigate from 3 p.m. until noon the next day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I try to give a lot of time because you can come in.
Yeah, it sounds more fair.
Yeah, you can come in, you can set up, you can do your thing, then you can have dinner, then you can investigate all night, and then you can sleep a couple hours before you go home.
Now, is that per person then?
No, it's for up to 8 people.
Oh, that is definitely a good deal.
That is a good deal. Yeah, no, I've
Yeah.
I've seen some other ones that have been per person. It's just like, wow, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no, yeah, that would be cool to go to. Me being a medium myself, and just I love old buildings, old houses. It's fascinating. And being an investigator as well, it makes life a little bit sweeter. But that is a really good price. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh!
Yeah. Like I said,
So
I try to make sure.
You did it again, Shane.
what did I do?
You got that sound. Did you?
There, is that better?
Nope.
See, I had to go in. Way. Is that better?
Nope.
Hmm.
Can you hear it, Shelley? Jill?
Yeah, he was cutting in and out, but I didn't hear any feedback.
Yeah,
All right.
I can hear it. Hang on.
Because you guys' signal started doing that a couple times, and all I did was
There you
turn
go.
on and off the echo cancellation, and it worked.
Yep. Now you're fine.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever. So I was just gonna ask her. So how is your team kind of divided up? Are you mostly mediums? Are you mostly techie? What kind of combinations do you guys have?
We're just pretty much normal folk. Nobody's
Okay.
nobody's really got any special gifts. I can kind of tell when they're around. I kind of
Sure.
get the feel that something's there. I can't communicate. I just kind of know when something's around. Teresa tends to be a beacon. We kind of call her our paranormal punching bag because she's the one who always gets scratched or something happens to her.
Oops. Yeah.
But she tends to have a beacon, and we've had many psychics or mediums just randomly walk up to her and say, "You have an incredible light and incredible energy." So I think things are attracted to her. Donna sometimes can actually see spirits, but it's usually when she's, in a kind of a meditative state, almost in a sleeping stage, and then you kind of open your eyes and then she can see them then. And then that's kind of it. So we're not,
Yeah. Okay.
I would love to be able to mentally communicate with them. I think that would be super awesome because I would like to have a conversation with them.
Yeah, be like Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sometimes it'll happen, but yeah, it's a lot of times it's just selective, very,
Mhm.
it's just, you wish you could actually sit down. And I've always said, just come into my dreams. It's so much easier. You sit down in my dreams, I can have a conversation with you, and then,
Mhm.
but no, it never works that way. But, what kind of equipment do you use besides your cameras? I mean, you said you had a lot of cameras, so do you have a lot of different equipment?
Oh gosh, yeah. We have the REM pods, different variations of REM pods, little REM bears, different trigger objects. We buy so many toys that we have different things that they can use for that. Um, what else do we have? Like the EM pumps we don't use as much anymore, just because they're kind of noisy. And um, the different spirit boxes, we have like the 11, the 7, the portal, the S box. Um, Gosh, just pretty much anything that makes noise. Like we buy stuff that's not even meant for paranormal. Like if you can touch it, it's going to go off. We're going to buy it. So,
Right.
we have even the little kitty jingly balls.
Yeah,
just
we have those.
Yep. Just pretty much anything that you can make you think that a spirit could use. We pretty much have that. So.
Right. Yeah. Oh no, I totally get it. Yeah, I started out when I started out, I wanted everything I could possibly get my hands on, and then realized how expensive it was, and then my wife realized how expensive it was, and then she was like, "Yeah, I don't think so." So I had to basically get things intermittently, and then I don't, some of the stuff I don't even use. It's just like it just sits, collect dust, and she tells me all the time, you should just sell that stuff. You're not going to use it. And I said, well, you never know. As the guy thing, I'll use it eventually.
I know what I ended up doing. I finally went through my little box of stuff that I don't use anymore, or like I have, slightly modified because it broke, but I can still make it work. So anyway, I put a little box together down at the Boyd House because we do have some people who come to stay to try to experience paranormal, but they don't have any equipment. So I thought this would be a fun little way that they could.
Sure, that's a good idea.
So I left a parabolic mic and a laser grid and a motion light and a motion sensor that makes noise. If they hear that, I left them a voice recorder. So just a few little things that they could play with. They have a K2 meter as well. So just some fun stuff that they can use and kind of at least get some experience. Because as you know, if you're in a place and you're not actually having equipment, you might not know that anything's there, but it could be.
Right.
So.
And it seems to be, as of late, I mean, me and Shane were talking about this too, is that there's a lot of people that paranormal teams that they can afford it. They want to purchase these places, these old houses and this and that, or buildings or whatever that have spirits in them. And some of them want to save the buildings and this and that. But, being connected with the paranormal and trying to preserve that, or that memory, so to speak, is actually starting to really make some tracks. And I've seen that a lot more now even in the last 6 months. So it's fascinating that somebody got this, great idea that, hey, why don't we just buy this haunted place and then we can just, keep it in the family. And, it's really cool. That and people who have been starting like haunted objects museums and stuff like that, what is your opinion on some of do you have any haunted objects or dolls or anything like that?
You can't guarantee that they are haunted, but yes, we do purchase a lot of different things of haunted dolls. Plus, they're kind of the creepy factor too that people
right.
Like. I can't guarantee they are. I did just buy one though, and this was the weirdest thing. So this was about 2 weeks ago, actually, at the house. I was actually down at the Iowa Paranormal Convention. And this lady stopped by and we started talking and she said, "Oh, I got all these haunted dolls. I got to sell them. I just don't like them." I said, "Hey, I'm really interested." So she came back the next day with a whole bin of these dolls. And one of them I was really drawn to. And she said, "This one was actually at the Psychic Institute, her and this one, but I won't sell you this one because I like her too much." Was I kind of bummed because I wanted that one too. But so anyway, I bought the one, brought her back to the house, got her all situated, did the whole EVP session. "Hey, what's your name?" And I didn't really get anything. But the next day when we were tearing things down and leaving, she's on a chair and all of a sudden she just kind of started moving back and forth like this.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
And nothing's running because I heard a noise over in the corner, which made me stop and look. And then I saw her moving. And then Teresa was in the next room. I'm like, "T, what are you doing next door over there?" And she's like, "Nothing, just standing here." So I wanted to make sure she wasn't creating some sort of vibration.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm like, "Well, that doll just moved." So yeah, she could. I also have another doll that her name was supposedly Lisa, and somebody got an EVP saying their name was Lisa. So I mean, I don't know. Could not be. I don't know. It's hard to say. We also just took in a painting that somebody was giving away, that they hated it. The story goes that her and her husband found it on the side of the road next to some chairs, very much like in the painting, next to a tree, very much like in the painting. It's the weirdest painting. It's like a monkey in a tree, but it's very evil looking. It's I can't even describe it. It's way creepy.
Okay.
Anyway, so she said it was super creepy. Her husband wished that he had taken the chairs, but he didn't take the chairs. Brought it home, hung it in their garage. There's also a story that's painted around the whole frame of the picture about monkeys. And she said she was afraid to read it because she was afraid to summon demons. And she's always like, "I felt like some creature was staring at me throughout this painting." And then sadly, her husband committed suicide in front of this painting.
Oh, no.
And
That's not great.
She's like, it's weird because, I mean, not saying that people wouldn't have an issue, but she's like, he was really happy. He had a good job. We got kids. She's like, he just never struck me as somebody who would have done that, and he could have been hiding how he really was. But
yeah.
Anyway, so he did kill himself in front of this painting. She didn't want it anymore. So she we got rid of it. She got rid of it and we took it. And so that's in the house. And kind of the interesting thing, that same night we were up in the attic running a spirit box and we said, hey, did you see the painting downstairs? What do you think about it? And it said, monkey, bad, evil, get rid of it.
Yeah.
But
I would concur with that information.
Yeah, it's still in the room.
The only thing that I could say is I could see with that painting is you probably should burn it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that most definitely. Yeah, I just seen what you were talking about, and that gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
we still have it up there. So I mean, I don't know. I haven't had any evil stuff happening yet, so we'll see. But it's on.
Yeah, give it time.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's scary, and I don't scare easily like that. But that painting's scary.
Yeah, it is a creepy one.
So, and it's probably a good thing, Shane, that you don't experience all that because
because I'd be hooking sensors up to that bad puppy quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I had that thing filled with sensors.
Yeah.
That painting would be like monitored 24/7.
Yeah, that's got some bad juju. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
It's just kind of weird that somebody would just find it on the side of a road,
There was a reason why it was on the side of the road.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I guess for me to get rid of it, I'm just going to stick it out on the front yard at Boyd House.
Yeah, there you go.
Pick it up. Just pass it along.
Yeah. Yeah. This is what Robert said. I will buy that painting from you anytime you want to sell it.
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah, we like that one so far.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I just have to stop and think, why people do. I ask myself why people do the things they do, but it is what it is,
Yeah.
But yeah, there's different objects. I mean, my mom owned a small antique store, here in Lake Geneva, and I used to have to watch it, when she would run errands in high school when I was in high school, and man, I hated being in there because things would move, make noise, and
see, I wish that would happen, and I can never get it to happen.
And being in a room full of antiques, one of them, especially some obscure ones, are going to have something attached to it. I didn't realize that until afterwards. I thought it was the building I was in because it wasn't that old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Later in years, and I figured out that it was half the stuff my mom owned, and it was like, yeah. So I love antiques. Now would I buy antiques? I'd have to do a thorough check.
Yeah, we do a lot of antique shop. We kind of brought the house back to the 1900s. We put all the old Victorian wallpaper, Victorian furniture.
Wow, that's cool.
All that kind of information, or old stuff. And we've actually gotten some pieces back in the house that were original to the house, that the county had. And so they sold it back to us. So that was kind of cool to get some of those original pieces back into the
right.
house.
Oh yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, so it's just been kind of fun. And then also talking to the grandson, he's like, oh gosh, they had a smoking stand right over here. So then I found a smoking stand that I was really drawn to, and I put that right where he said.
Right.
He's like, oh, and then my grandpa would read Life magazines, so I bought all the Life magazines, not a lot, but I bought a bunch of magazines from the 40s. That's the years he remembers him reading them, and so I put those by the smoking stand where he said. So just try to bring a lot of stuff back. And I'm always asking them too, what do you want? What do you want me to bring you? So if they ever tell me stuff, then I bring it, or sometimes I just get an inkling or something in my head that says, get that, and then I will.
Right.
So,
right. Well, that's cool. Yeah. Because it's just that whole memory of, oh, this was, remember the house when it was like this, or the room was like this, or whatever, those memories, are very powerful in that sense, and yeah. I would seriously. I told my wife I wanted a man cave, but I wanted to decorate it in the 50s, and she was like, "Why?" And I'm like, "I just love the 50s."
Yeah.
I want the old TV. I want the, like you said, the smoking stand or whatever. You know what I mean? It's just the lamp, the chairs. It's just, yeah. I like the the stuff, nowadays. I mean, I like the electronics, I like all this stuff, but you cannot beat going into an old building or a house and seeing history there and wanting to just be a part of that, and that's why I love old buildings and the furniture, the old buildings, and it's remembering that time where people were just, how they were then, and what they did. So it's pretty cool. But so kudos to you for buying that house, and
Yeah, it's cool.
because that is, that is just awesome. I would love to be able to do that.
So I think it would just be cool to to have a place that you could set up experiments and run them for months at a time, not just one night and be out of there, because I think a lot of things get misinterpreted. I mean, somebody might have a little experience one night and the whole place is as haunted as ever, they call it, and then other people can go a place and there's nothing there. It's like, I think it's more timing than it is whether there's something there or not.
Right. Yeah, because we've been to places where like they talk up, oh my God, it's going to be so amazing, and we don't get anything.
Yeah.
But I never walk away and say, well, that place isn't haunted. It just wasn't my day,
Yeah.
So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I know that, learning the history is also key for me and for a lot of investigators, especially, trying to discover what was there at one time and this and that. I mean, I see a lot of investigators, not a lot, I would say a few investigators nowadays that just kind of rush to locations just for the thrill factor. And that really it's, do your research, you want to look at what you're investigating, you know what I mean? So I've kind of seen that a little bit lately. People are just kind of just wanting to investigate just for the thrill of it, and I think they're missing.
Yeah, and we're always about a lot of respect. We're not a hokey group. We actually try to talk to spirits as if I'm talking to you right now.
Yeah, that's the best way.
And asking questions. And we our team tends to focus less on death than life. We want to know more about their life than, everyone's like, how did you die? Are you sad that you died? Things like that. We're like, what did you do? What was your favorite hobby? What was your favorite food?
Yeah, I think that's a real good tactic.
That's kind of where we go with that, and especially if you learn certain things about a spirit, even no matter where you are, you can use that. Like, hey, I knew you used to ride a bicycle. Where was your favorite place to ride? And then you're making that connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, that's just there's that different style. There's different styles of investigating in this and that technique is really a very positive technique. I mean, I would say that you probably get more responses that way than talking about their death. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because that seems to be the consensus that a lot of people that are investigating or, trying to find out, what's there in that information is finding out, how did you die? I mean, that's kind of like the go-to question. How did you die? But it's kind of like what you just said, why don't you talk about their life instead? And then, if they want to share that, then they'll share that.
Right.
I have yet to really come across a spirit that actually, even with me asking them, how did you die? Maybe 2 or 3, but they don't want to talk about that. They don't want to share, you know what I mean? They don't want to remember that. They don't want to, especially if they've crossed over and come back, because that doesn't mean anything. That's old hat to them. And, so just communication is what they want, but they're the ones that haven't crossed, and they're not going to want to keep talking about how they died,
Right.
Yeah.
So there's definitely for different places, there's different etiquette for different places. And I truly believe that.
Oh yeah.
You go to a jail, that's different. You go to a boutique hotel, that's different. You know what I mean? So it's like, even if you go to a cemetery, that's a different etiquette there too. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's so much different ways you can, carry yourself, I guess, so to speak, at different locations. It's probably, good for people to research that, to, be respectful at all times. You know what I mean?
Right. And we've even dressed the part for stuff. Like we've gone to church
That's awesome. Yeah.
dressed as nuns. We've gone to places dressed as doctors and nurses.
That's cool.
You know, I actually work in the medical field, so I actually start dropping, you know, medical jargon, and sometimes I really get some really good responses just because of that, you know.
Right.
So yeah, we've done all kinds of crazy. We've dressed up in inmate outfits at jails, and yeah, it's you do get a lot of interaction, I think, sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like a trigger option, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're just the trigger object at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, some of those is having that medical background like in that's probably very beneficial. You know, I can only imagine. I'll have to check out your St. Croix Paranormal channel on YouTube because I want to see some of the stuff that you've got. So
Yeah, check it out. We started doing video production a few years ago just because I thought it'd be fun to make little videos of places we did as memories. So we created our own little show called Paranormal Patrol. So kind of like a little mini documentary of places that we've been. So it's just something kind of fun I like to do. It's just a new hobby of mine, so I love doing creations. So it's nothing super duper fancy, but I'm pretty proud of it. So
okay. So do you have a website then?
Yeah, we're under stcroixparanormal.com.
Okay.
Otherwise, you know, if you're looking for Boyd House, you can find us on Facebook under Boyd House. Or you can email us at boydhouse217@yahoo.com with any questions regarding the house, or if you would like to make a reservation, we can kind of go from there.
Right. Robert actually asked you this. I want to do this really quick before we go. How do you decompress after doing an investigation or being in your hotel?
Usually we just kind of talk about everything. If it's end of day and we're done not driving, sometimes we'll just kick back and have a couple beers and just talk about the night. So
right.
Decompress.
Right. Yeah, you kind of have to do that, especially, you know, owning a haunted location. You know, and you're there probably a lot.
Yeah, that one I don't have to decompress so much because I'm there all the time and I know them. And when I leave, I'm like, see y'all next time. And I just go home and do my things.
Right.
So when you're traveling, yeah, you got to have that decompression time.
Yeah, I can do that too. You know, I know the spirits here, and I greet them when I come here, and then when I leave, I, you know, say goodbye and say thank you and all this. You know, it's just, even when I drive by, you know, because I'm only 5-10 minutes from here, you know, so, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, so I think that's about all we have the time for. We want to thank Jill Shelley from St. Croix Paranormal and the Boyd House. We want to thank you very much for coming onto the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Good talking to you guys.
Thanks for being here.
And, you know, if you want to find out a little bit more information, you can go to St. Croix Paranormal on the YouTube or the Boyd House on Facebook. And you have the St. Croix Paranormal also on Facebook?
That's on Facebook as well, or the website.
Okay. Yeah, so for future reference, our show is going to actually be we're going to take a break for a little bit, and then we will be back in the first week of November. So thank you, everyone, for your support, love, and everything. And thank you to our guests now, Jill. And I want to say thank you, Shane, and everybody here at the mansion. And we will be back at another time. Thanks, folks.
Goodbye.
See ya.